There is a moment, so brief most people never notice it, when your entire financial destiny is more malleable than clay. It happens before your mind fully wakes, before logic returns, before the world's noise has the chance to remind you of who you were yesterday. And it is in that fragile space that Jewish wisdom says your relationship with money is born again each morning. Not symbolically, literally. The words you speak in that first breath either expand your future or quietly shrink it. So I want you to do something now, something simple but revealing. Comment the phrase about money you heard most often while growing up. Maybe it was, money doesn't grow on trees, or save every penny, or we're not the kind of people who get rich. Write it down.
Because once you see it outside of yourself, you'll understand how much of your financial life isn't truly yours. It's inherited programming waiting to be rewritten. That single sentence shaped the ceiling you've been trying to break without realizing where the ceiling came from. I grew up surrounded by teachings that treated money not as a cold material asset, but as a form of energy, sacred, purposeful, alive. In Jewish tradition, money is seen as a tool for expansion, a spiritual amplifier. But that truth was often whispered quietly, almost protectively, because deeper wisdom about prosperity has always been guarded by those who know its weight. It isn't just about earning, it's about becoming the kind of person wealth feels safe entering. And here's the part that might unsettle you. Most people never notice the moment they begin sabotaging their financial path.
It doesn't happen during a crisis or a major life decision. It happens in the smallest rituals, especially the morning ones. Jewish teachings say that the first thought and the first word of the day are spiritual instructions. They tell the universe what you believe you deserve. They tell your mind what to look for, and they tell your habits how high they're allowed to climb. So when you wake up saying, another day, or I hope things work out, or even I'm doing okay, you unknowingly compress the possibilities of the day before it even has the chance to unfold. It's like stepping onto a road and narrowing it with your own hands. But when you wake with intention, when you speak with direction, the path widens, options appear, resources align. You become someone opportunity recognizes.
This is why understanding the lessons I'm about to share matters. Not next week, not eventually, but now. There are principles woven through Jewish wisdom that explain why some families rise generation after generation, while others repeat the same financial struggles. And once you learn them, you won't be able to unsee them. They will change the way you make decisions, speak about money, and shape your future. Because before we talk about strategies or habits, we must begin with the foundation. The stories, beliefs, and words that built your relationship with money long before you ever earned your first dollar. And to understand how those beliefs took root, we must look back into the ancestral wisdom that shaped the very idea of wealth itself. Long before spreadsheets, budgets, and bank accounts, wealth was understood not as accumulation, but as alignment.
In Jewish tradition, prosperity was never a sign of luck or superiority. It was a signal that a person was moving in harmony with divine purpose. And this idea didn't come from philosophy, it came from experience, passed down through families who survived storms that should have destroyed them, yet somehow rose stronger. Wealth, they taught, is not about having more. It is about becoming more. My own ancestors lived by this principle long before I understood it. One story in particular has followed me like a lantern through every dark financial season. It's about my great-grandfather, a man who lost everything once and rebuilt it with a single shift in mindset. During a difficult year, he faced a downturn that threatened our family's future. Work slowed, clients vanished, resources thinned, and yet, through all of it, he repeated one belief: wealth is a responsibility, not a reward. He believed abundance was given to those who knew how to channel it, not to those who chased it aimlessly. One evening, after weeks of struggle, he told my grandmother something that later became our family's compass. Scarcity confuses the heart, but purpose straightens it. He realized he had been asking for money, but not for clarity.
He had been pushing for results without anchoring them to meaning. So he shifted his focus, not toward earning, but toward intention. He asked himself, what would I do with wealth if it returned? And that question became the turning point. Within days, opportunities that had disappeared began coming back. Not magically, but magnetically, because clarity attracts, and he finally had it. This is where many cultures misunderstand prosperity. Scarcity-based thinking builds walls. Money is seen as dangerous, elusive, unpredictable.
But prosperity-based thinking builds channels. Money becomes a partner, a resource, a force that responds to identity rather than fear. Jewish wisdom teaches that abundance isn't found through chasing. It is found through alignment of purpose, clarity of values, and integrity of action. And here is the startling contrast. Two people can work the same hours, earn the same wages, live in the same conditions, yet one expands while the other remains stuck. Why? Not because of talent, not because of luck, but because one believes wealth is a burden or an accident, while the other sees it as stewardship. One speaks about money with resignation, the other with direction. One fears change, the other expects growth. The difference is invisible, yet it shapes everything. But deeper still lies a truth most people never realize until it's too late.
There are 3 subtle mistakes nearly everyone makes that quietly sabotage their financial potential. They're woven into daily habits, into casual conversations, into the very language we use about money. And the second one, the one we'll reach soon, is especially dangerous because it hides inside good intentions. To understand how powerful these mistakes are, we must begin with the first lesson, the foundation upon which all financial transformation rests, the clarity that money responds to. The first lesson is one my great-grandfather considered the cornerstone of every financial blessing that ever touched our family. Money responds to clarity. Not effort alone, not desire alone, clarity. Most people chase wealth the way a person runs through fog, arms outstretched, grasping at shapes they can't fully see, and then they wonder why nothing solid forms in their hands.
But Jewish wisdom teaches the opposite. The moment you define your intention, the fog parts. The moment you decide what wealth is for, the path to it begins revealing itself. Clarity is not about knowing the exact numbers in your bank account or having a perfect plan. Clarity is a spiritual compass. It means your mind, your words, and your purpose face the same direction. Without it, money behaves like water poured onto stone, scattering, slipping into cracks, evaporating before you can use it. With clarity, that same water becomes a stream, focused, powerful, able to carve its way through mountains. I once knew a man who embodied this truth without realizing he was living a lesson thousands of years old. His name was Aaron, a quiet man who spent years saying he wanted more money, but never decided what more meant or why he wanted it. Every time he gained a little, he lost a little.
Every time he saved, a crisis drained it away. He thought he was cursed, but really he was vague, and vagueness attracts chaos. Then one morning, after a particularly difficult month, he sat down with a notebook and wrote a single sentence. I want enough wealth to build something that lasts beyond me. Those words changed everything. They became his intention, his direction, his clarity. And once he named it, opportunities that had never appeared before began surfacing. Meetings, ideas, partnerships. Within 3 days, not 3 weeks, not 3 months, his circumstances shifted. Not because the universe suddenly noticed him, but because he finally spoke clearly enough for the universe to respond. Jewish wisdom warns that hesitation has a spiritual cost. A person who delays decisions, who drifts without direction, invites stagnation.
The Talmud teaches that blessing rests only on something defined, meaning abundance cannot attach itself to hazy dreams. It needs form, it needs intention, it needs you to decide. And the consequence of ignoring this? In just 3 days, momentum collapses, energy dissipates, doors begin to close before you even realize they were open. A dream without clarity doesn't die dramatically, it dissolves quietly. So ask yourself, what exactly do you want money to do? Not someday, now. What purpose does it serve in your life? What future does it build? What responsibility does it prepare you for? Because until you answer these questions, you're not asking for wealth, you're asking for confusion. And clarity is only the first step. Because once you understand what money responds to, the next lesson reveals something even deeper.
How you earn matters just as much as how much you earn, and this ancient principle has protected families for generations. There is a teaching in the Talmud that echoes through every generation. Wealth earned with dignity endures, while wealth gained in haste dissolves. It is a principle so old that people often mistake it for superstition, when in truth it is a psychological and spiritual law woven into the structure of life itself. Jewish wisdom does not separate money from character, it binds them, reminding us that how you earn shapes what you become, and whatever shapes you will shape your future wealth in return. Dignified earning doesn't mean working harder than everyone else, nor does it mean accepting struggle as virtue. It means earning in a way that strengthens you instead of hollowing you.
Work that aligns with integrity, purpose, and service creates prosperity that lasts because it builds a foundation in the person, not just in the bank account. Money that appears quickly without structure disappears just as quickly because nothing inside you is strong enough to hold it. Imagine a farmer tending his field. If he plants recklessly, scattering seeds on rocky soil, he may see a flash of green after the rain, but the growth will be shallow, temporary. But if he tills the earth, respects the cycles, and plants with intention, the harvest becomes steady, dependable, sacred. Wealth works the same way. Fast money is fragile. Dignified money is generational. My great-grandfather used to say, "A blessing that arrives through dishonest doors will leave the same way."
He believed that money had memory, that it carried the energy of how it was earned, and that it influenced the hands it entered. When he was young, he faced a moment of temptation, an opportunity to make a large sum quickly by cutting corners. Everyone around him insisted it was harmless, but something inside him resisted. He walked away. Weeks later, the entire venture collapsed, taking several businesses down with it. His refusal didn't just save him financially, it shaped his reputation, his confidence, and the opportunities that followed. That is the hidden power of dignified earning. It expands your identity, not just your income. When you work with integrity, you tell the universe, "I am someone who can be trusted with abundance." And abundance moves toward trust, the way a river moves toward open land. But dignity isn't only about morality, it's also about alignment.
Many people stay in jobs or routines that drain them because they fear instability. Yet drained people cannot hold wealth. It slips through their fingers. Jewish wisdom teaches that purpose fuels prosperity, not passion in a romantic sense, but purpose as a sense of contribution, direction, and meaning. When your work strengthens you, money flows more easily. When your work diminishes you, money becomes a battle. So pause and ask yourself, where are you earning in ways that weaken you? Where are you accepting money that costs more than it gives? Where are you planting seeds in rocky soil? These questions are uncomfortable, but they open the door to transformation. Because once you understand how earning shapes your destiny, the next lesson becomes unavoidable. The words you speak about money, casually, jokingly, reflexively, are building or breaking your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. The second hidden mistake is one people commit dozens of times a day without noticing, speaking carelessly about money. Jewish wisdom teaches that words are not sounds, they are forces. They carve channels in the mind, shape emotional patterns, and create openings, or barriers, for prosperity to enter. And when it comes to money, most people speak in ways that quietly sabotage their own future. You've heard these phrases 1,000 times. Money is tight. I can't afford that. I'm always broke. Rich people are greedy. Some are said jokingly, others with frustration, others out of habit. But every repetition deepens a belief, and belief shapes behavior long before you notice it.
A person who constantly says, "I can't afford it," stops looking for ways to make it possible. A person who mocks wealth will subconsciously reject opportunities that lead to it. Words become walls, but because they are invisible, people assume nothing is happening, yet everything is happening. There's an old saying my grandmother loved: "A careless tongue empties even a full pocket." People laughed when she said it, but she meant every syllable. She grew up watching neighbors ruin their own abundance through negative speech. One man in her town in particular used to joke constantly, "With my luck, money never stays with me." It was his catchphrase, his signature laugh line. But over the years, it became prophecy. Every time he gained something, a bonus, an inheritance, a profitable season, something unexpected would take it away. He cursed himself with humor, not realizing humor is still language, and language is still law. Psychologists today echo what rabbis taught centuries ago. The brain listens to your words as if they are instructions. Speak scarcity, and your mind begins filtering the world through limitation. Speak abundance, and your mind opens to possibility. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, responds to repeated phrases more than repeated intentions. This is why people who mean well but speak poorly stay stuck. Their words outrun their will. There is a moral dimension too. When you speak lightly about money, you diminish its sacredness. Jewish wisdom views money as a vessel, a container for blessing, generosity, growth, and responsibility. Treating it with contempt, sarcasm, or fear closes the vessel. Treating it with respect opens it. Your relationship with money is in many ways a relationship with yourself. So pause and ask, what do you say about money when you're frustrated, when you're joking, when you're disappointed? Are your words creating openings or sealing them? This is why the second mistake is so dangerous. It doesn't come in moments of crisis. It comes in casual conversations, in throwaway comments, in jokes that seem harmless. And because it feels small, people don't correct it. But small cracks sink large ships. Correcting your language requires awareness, consistency, and intention. But even that isn't enough on its own, because beneath your words lies another force even more powerful: the movement, or lack of movement, in your life. And that leads us directly to the next lesson, one most people never see coming. The third mistake hides beneath the surface of good intentions.
Believing that money grows without movement. People assume that once they fix their mindset or speak differently about wealth, abundance will simply appear. But Jewish wisdom warns of a deeper truth. Stagnation repels prosperity. Even the most fertile land cannot grow a harvest if the farmer stands still. Wealth requires motion, not frantic effort, but deliberate forward steps that signal readiness for expansion. In Hebrew thought, there is a concept called hishtadlut, the sacred obligation to make an effort. Not to strain, not to hustle endlessly, but to move. To take the step that invites the blessing. Inaction is not neutral, it is a message. When you remain still, life interprets it as a lack of desire, a lack of readiness, a lack of openness. Movement, even small movement, tells the universe, I am prepared to receive. Modern research reflects this ancient idea.
A behavioral study in Israel found that individuals who demonstrated consistent microactions toward financial goals, no matter how small, showed significantly higher incomes and income than those who made large changes sporadically. The number that emerged surprised even the researchers, a 12% rise on average for those who maintained steady movement. Why? Because momentum builds attention, attention builds opportunity, and opportunity builds wealth. Stagnation does the opposite. It shrinks awareness and dulls possibility. I once knew a man named Reuben who embodied this principle without understanding it. For years he dreamed of growing his business, but he convinced himself he needed the perfect conditions first: more savings, better contacts, a clearer plan. He spoke positively, affirmed abundance, studied financial wisdom, but he did nothing, and nothing changed. His life remained a loop of good intentions without results. Then came the turning point. One morning, he made a tiny decision to call a single potential client he'd been avoiding. That one action led to a meeting. The meeting led to a referral. The referral led to a contract, and within weeks, his business doubled. When I asked him what changed, he said, I stopped waiting for clarity and let movement create clarity. He discovered the ancient truth.
Motion generates momentum, and momentum attracts blessing. The danger of stagnation is that it feels safe. Stillness disguises itself as patience, prudence, even wisdom. But stillness without purpose becomes paralysis, and paralysis is the silent enemy of prosperity. Jewish wisdom teaches that even the smallest action, a phone call, a plan written on paper, a step toward a long-avoided task, creates spiritual ripples.
It tells the unseen world that you are not frozen, you are becoming. So ask yourself now, with honesty, where have you mistaken waiting for preparing? Where have you confused fear with wisdom? Where have you stayed still when movement, any movement, would have opened a door? Because movement is not optional. It is the signal that tells life you are ready for what you've been asking. And once you understand that prosperity flows toward motion, the next lesson becomes inevitable. Gratitude and generosity, the two forces that accelerate wealth faster than any strategy ever could. Gratitude and generosity are often treated as virtues, but in Jewish wisdom, they are something far more powerful, financial engines, not symbolic, not sentimental, literal engines that expand your capacity to hold wealth. Gratitude draws abundance closer, and generosity keeps it flowing.
These two forces form a cycle older than written language, a spiritual law observed long before anyone tried to explain it. Let's begin with gratitude. In Hebrew, the word hoda'ah means both thanks and acknowledgement. To be grateful is not merely to appreciate, it is to recognize the source of your blessings. And when you recognize a source, you strengthen the channel. Gratitude does not just make you feel better, it widens the vessel through which abundance enters. People who practice daily gratitude consistently see more opportunities because their minds are tuned to notice them. Their spirits open, their energy expands. Gratitude is not passive, it is magnetic. Now consider generosity. In Jewish teaching, giving is not charity, it is partnership with creation. The act of giving signals trust. Trust that there is enough. Trust that more will come. Trust that you are part of a flow rather than a closed system. When you give, you create movement. And as we learned, movement attracts blessing. This is why generosity multiplies wealth, not because of karma, but because of physics of the soul. When your hand opens, something new can enter. I once heard a story about a woman named Rivka who lived with very little but refused to live with a closed heart. Every week, no matter how tight things were, she set aside a small amount to give. Sometimes a coin, sometimes a meal, sometimes her time. She never waited until she had enough. She gave because giving was who she was. Over the years, something extraordinary happened. Whenever a crisis appeared, provision followed. When her husband lost work, a neighbor offered him a new job. When her rent increased, an unexpected opportunity allowed her to negotiate it down. It was as if the world conspired to support the woman who supported others. Gratitude made her receptive. Generosity made her expansive. Modern psychology echoes this. Studies show that people who give regularly experience increases in well-being, problem-solving ability, and even income. Why? Because giving fosters confidence, networks, community, and resilience. Generous people attract generous opportunities. So how do you activate this cycle in your life? Start with something small. Each morning, list 3 things you're grateful for, but be specific. Not my home, but the quiet corner where I can breathe. Not my job, but the skill that lets me contribute. Specific gratitude builds awareness. Then choose one act of generosity each day. It doesn't need to be financial. Share knowledge.
Offer help. Encourage someone. Give something of yourself. These practices create motion and magnetism. They tell the universe you are not clinging to what you have. You are preparing for more. And as gratitude and generosity begin reshaping your inner world, the next lessons reveal how outer success grows through adaptability, discipline, and the sharpened awareness that allows you to recognize opportunity the moment it appears. Adaptability, discipline, and opportunity awareness. 3 qualities that, according to Jewish wisdom, form the backbone of sustained wealth. Not sudden wealth, not accidental wealth, but the kind of prosperity that survives storms, failures, and unexpected turns. These lessons are not abstract. They were forged in centuries of wandering, rebuilding, and rising again.
When a people survived exile after exile, they learn how to bend without breaking, how to see possibility in barren soil, how to rebuild faster each time. And from that history comes one of the most powerful financial teachings in the world. Those who adapt rise, and those who resist change crumble. Adaptability is not merely reacting to circumstances, it is reading them. It is the ability to turn obstacles into openings. There is a story about a Jewish merchant who arrived in a city only to discover that everyone already sold the exact product he brought. Most people would have panicked or left. Instead, he watched, listened, and noticed a pattern. People were complaining that their goods spoiled too quickly. So he pivoted. Instead of selling the product, he sold preservation solutions. He adapted to the need, not the market as it appeared.
Within a year, he became the wealthiest man in the region. Adaptability is intelligence married to humility. Then comes discipline. Not punishment, not rigidity. Discipline in Jewish wisdom is devotion to a direction. Wealth is not built by bursts of effort, but by consistent alignment. A disciplined person honors their time, respects their commitments, and nurtures habits that strengthen their future instead of weakening it. Discipline is the invisible scaffold behind every visible success. My grandfather used to say, if you cannot manage a little, a lot will drown you. This wasn't about scarcity, it was about capacity. Wealth grows inside a person before it grows around them. And finally, opportunity awareness, the quiet skill that sets prosperous people apart.
Jewish families teach their children from a young age to observe the world with curiosity, to notice small openings others overlook. Opportunity rarely arrives as a clear invitation. It often comes disguised as inconvenience, as extra work, as an unexpected encounter. The mystics say that God hides blessings in plain sight to train the eyes of the wise, and those who practice awareness become the ones who catch chances others miss. Consider this. Two people can walk down the same street, sit in the same cafe, hear the same conversation, yet one sees nothing, while the other sees the beginning of a business, a partnership, a solution. That difference is not luck, it is cultivated awareness. These three traits, adaptability, discipline, awareness, form a triad. Together, they create the kind of person wealth seeks out, because wealth does not simply flow to the talented.
It flows to the prepared. It flows to those who can respond to change, maintain direction, and recognize the moment when a door quietly unlocks. And once you understand how these qualities shape prosperity from the outside, it becomes impossible to ignore the deeper truth. The final lessons about money are not about action alone, but about identity and intention, about the words that create your world, and the choice that sets your destiny. At the core of Jewish wisdom lies a truth so simple and yet so powerful that it has shaped generations of prosperity. Words create worlds. This is not metaphor or poetry. It is the fundamental principle behind creation itself. In the Hebrew tradition, the universe was not built with tools or force. It was built with speech. Let there be light, and light appeared. Let the waters separate, and they did.
If the divine shapes reality through words, then every human, made in that image, shapes their own reality the same way, through what they say, think, and declare every single day. So consider this carefully. If your language is small, your world becomes small. If your language is filled with fear, your possibilities shrink to match it. If you speak limitation, life hears limitation. But the opposite is also true. When you speak expansion, growth begins. When you speak clarity, doors open. When you speak intention, opportunity listens. This is why Jewish parents guard their children's words. They correct phrases like, I can't, or I'm unlucky, because they understand the spiritual danger behind casual negativity. Words are not expressions. Words are seeds. Every sentence you repeat
is planting a future you will one day live inside.
Many people sabotage their financial life not through action, but through identity. They say things like, "I'm not good with money," "I never get ahead," or "people like me don't become wealthy." They think they're describing reality, but they're prescribing it. The mind internalizes these statements as truth, and the world rearranges itself to match that truth. But here is the liberating part. Identity is a choice. You can choose the kind of person you are becoming long before your circumstances reflect it. Jewish wisdom teaches that abundance begins not with possession, but with declaration. The moment you speak a new identity, your behavior shifts to support it. Your attention sharpens, your decisions strengthen, your energy aligns.
This is why I challenge you to test this for 7 days. 7 mornings of conscious speech. 7 mornings of choosing words that elevate rather than diminish. For 7 days, declare not what you fear, but what you are preparing for. Speak the financial life you intend to build and watch how your awareness changes. 7 is not random. In Jewish teaching, 7 represents completion, a spiritual cycle renewing itself. Give your words 7 days, and they will begin to reshape your inner landscape. Because here is the ultimate lesson. Wealth is not a number, not a status, not a possession. Wealth is a choice. It is chosen through clarity, protected through discipline, expanded through generosity, sustained through movement, and activated through speech.
When you decide that you are someone who grows, someone who earns with dignity, someone who recognizes opportunity and responds to it, wealth begins to move toward you. And now that these principles have been uncovered, there is only one step left: to bring them together into a blessing, a ritual, and an invitation that seals everything we have learned. You've walked with me through ancient laws, quiet stories, and truths whispered across generations, truths that were never meant to remain secrets, but to guide anyone willing to listen. Now, as we close this journey, all the pieces converge into one clear path. Wealth is not an accident, but a practice, a daily, deliberate shaping of your inner world that eventually transforms your outer one. And it all begins with the simplest shift: choosing language, intention, movement, and purpose that align with abundance instead of resisting it.
We learned that clarity calls money forward, because money cannot follow a fog. We learned that dignity in earning creates prosperity that lasts, because it strengthens the person who holds it. We learned that careless speech about money builds invisible walls, while intentional speech opens doors. We learned that movement, any movement, invites momentum, and stagnation quietly repels blessing. We learned that gratitude is magnetic, generosity is transformative, and together they create a cycle wealth recognizes. We learned that adaptability, discipline, and awareness turn opportunities into realities rather than missed chances. We learned that words form the blueprint of your financial identity. And finally, we learned that wealth is a choice made not once, but every morning you rise. So now, as this journey reaches its final breath, I want to offer you something sacred, a blessing carried through centuries, spoken during times of abundance and times of need, always with the same purpose: to protect, to elevate, and to open the gates of possibility. May the Lord bless you and guard you. May His light shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift His countenance toward you and grant you peace. Let these words settle into the space around you, forming a quiet shield of clarity and peace. Let them serve as a reminder that you are not walking toward abundance alone. You are walking with guidance, with wisdom, with the inheritance of generations behind you. And now, a final invitation, not a command, not a demand, but a symbolic act of generosity and alignment. Share this video with 3 people who need a new relationship with money.
3 people who are tired of carrying beliefs that shrink them. 3 people who are ready, not someday, but now, to choose a different financial destiny. When you share wisdom, you don't lose it, you multiply it. Carry these lessons with you into every morning. Protect them, practice them. Let them soften your doubts and sharpen your intentions.
Let them reshape the way you speak, earn, give, and grow. Because wealth is not just something you acquire, it is something you become. And with each sunrise, you have the chance to become it again.